So today was the continuation of Summer Under the Stars, and today's star was Robert Montgomery. He's one of my all-time favorite actors. I love Robert Montgomery. Love, love, love. And prior to today, I'd seen 33 of his films, and we were showing 5 of his films that I hadn't seen. One of them is on so late tonight that I'm going to have to catch it later. But 4 of them were on while I was working, so I had it on in the background. I have 2 screens, so I was working and watching and working and watching. Don't recommend watching films that way, but you can do it if you're really determined. So the first one I watched was The Mystery of Mr. X, which is from 1934, and it's a crime comedy almost, where there's a man named Mr. X who's killing police officers in England, and Robert Montgomery is a jewel thief who just happens to steal some jewelry or a really expensive diamond right at the same location as one of these murders. And so they think the murders are linked, and he's trying to figure out a way to get the other guy caught so he can keep his jewel. And then he falls in love with the daughter of one of the head police guys. And so obviously shenanigans ensue because love is now involved. And I enjoyed this film, but it's not really my kind of film, so, it was all right. The next one I adored. This was 1934's Hideout. It's one of the ones where Robert Montgomery plays a comic gangster. He did this in a few films, and I think he makes a really fun comic gangster. So he's a racketeer who cops are after, so he has to go hide. And while driving away, he gets in an accident and winds up in this country house in Connecticut. And they keep him because he's recuperating, but really he's not hiding out. And the film was nominated for Best Original Story Academy Award, which I think is great because it's a fun film. And starred Maureen O'Sullivan as the daughter of the people who own the farmhouse, and a pretty young Mickey Rooney as the little brother. And he was really not annoying. He was actually quite fun in his little brother role. And Robert Montgomery and Maureen O'Sullivan were adorable together, and it was just a fun film. And he's chasing chickens and trying to milk a cow, and having, instead of being a womanizer, he finally finds real love, and it transforms him. It's one of those movies. I enjoyed it. The next film I also really enjoyed was Piccadilly Jim, based on the novel by P.G. Wodehouse, where he plays a caricaturist who is American but lives in England, and his father is a has-been actor who has fallen in love with this lady, played by Billy Burke, but her family wants to meet his family, make sure he's not a fortune hunter, only to discover that the great artist's son that he supposedly has is just a caricaturist, and so they're nah. And meanwhile, Art Montgomery falls in love with this woman whose name he does not know, and she disappears, and this family disappears, and it turns out, obviously, these are one and the same, and while they're gone, in Europe or whatever, he creates a comic strip about them, lampooning them. And at first they're really pissed, but then as the comic strip becomes more popular, people realize that it's based on this family, and the matriarch of it loves the spotlight, and so tides change. But 1, will she let her sister marry the father, played by Frank Morgan? He's hilarious. And 2, will the daughter, or the niece, played by Madge Evans, find out that the guy that she kind of likes is this caricaturist, and will she forgive him? These are the things you have to figure out. It's just a fun film. It's from 1936. The next one I was not a big fan of, mostly because I'm not a big Marion Davies fan. So it was Marion Davies' last film, and Robert Montgomery in a movie called Ever Since Eve. And I kind of liked the plot. I just didn't like her. So the plot is that a very pretty woman keeps getting fired from jobs because she won't let men hit on her. So she discovers the only way to really keep a job is if she can pretend to be dowdy. However, in doing so, she starts to fall for her boss, Robert Montgomery, a novelist who needs to finish his goddamn novel. Then Robert Montgomery then accidentally meets Marion Davies outside of her costume, and he falls in love with her. So it's her pretending to be her pretending to be her roommate, but she's not really her roommate, so she has to play two different people, and obviously shenanigans ensue. I was not a big fan of this film. I didn't think it was all that funny. I feel like there could have been a lot more with the mistaken identity. It's sort of the story. I feel like this kind of story has been done better. And it has not one, not two, but 3, 4, 5, 6 credited writers on it. So you can see that it was a big mess. So, I watched it because I'm a completist. I'm trying to watch all of his films someday. So this was 1937's Ever Since Eve. Later tonight, we're showing They Were Expendable, which I haven't seen. It's on too late for me to watch it tonight, so I'm going to have to watch it tomorrow or the next day. I'm looking forward to it. Robert Montgomery is the greatest. So, you should watch all his films. You just should. And now I've seen 37 of his movies, so if you want some recommendations, I got recommendations.